Welcome to Reset Stories, a podcast in which we listen to people who changed their lives. I'm your host, Marta Mondelli. I changed direction in my life many times, and I love the unique stories of those who made a leap and reset career, place, and, well, life. I thought it was just fair that I would introduce myself. I call myself a professional at changes. I think anybody who has changed their lives is somehow a professional, meaning you have done it once, you can do it again, you learn from it. What we try to shy away from in this podcast is to talk about changes that happened very early in your life. Like my first changes were my parents traveling for work. And so I moved after my first grade. And then I moved when I was 14 away from all my friends. And that was very hard. But that's not really what Reset Story is about. For us, it is when you're older, like not even in your 20s, maybe, because when you're in your 20s, everything is kind of open, and you have the possibilities and also the energy to change as many times as you want, as you adjust and try to find your way. What is interesting for us is to find what moves people from taking big leaps. My accent, big leaps when you're older, when you have already a career or already established yourself in a place or have a frame of mind that then changes completely. So I would say for me that was definitely when I moved to New York.
Was that your biggest reset?
It was when I moved to New York. That was a real reset. I changed my life completely in a country of which I didn't speak the language so well. I studied French in school, and quite frankly, I wasn't that interested in the whole America kind of thing. I love movies, and I watched American movies all the time. But I'm also a geek. I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to movies. So when I was in college, I was super into the Marx Brothers, for example. So my America was not the America of, I don't know, Independence Day or a Hollywood movie, typical Hollywood movies. It was more independent films, and my landscape was not only American. It was dominated by New York necessarily. So when I arrived there, it was all very new. But I fell in love with the energy of New York, and I just ended up staying. Ended up moving around a lot within New York. It's typical of people who live there to kind of change apartments. And I did, when you arrive in a new city like that, in which everything costs so much, you need to find jobs. And so I did all sorts of different jobs. But again, uh, yes, it was a life-changing experience. Absolutely. I think every time you move somewhere else in which the language and the culture are so completely different, you do end up changing. Even your mind working in a different language changes. But I think maybe because it's closer to me, the real big change has been relocating uh, in Italy.
Did you consider it a failure?
Yes, I saw it a little bit like a failure. I always liken it to when you break up with your boyfriend and you end up moving back to your childhood home with your parents, like when you have a step back. It definitely felt like a step back. I was excited at first because I thought Italy would be just a step to another country. We tried to live in Dublin. We didn't quite adjust to it. I think coming from New York, and my husband is from New York, and I always loved big cities. Dublin felt very small, and it was very difficult to find a place, like a neighborhood, where we would go like, oh, I can walk around and like you do in New York. So I thought, although Ireland is beautiful and I had amazing encounters with people there, it was very difficult to think, oh, okay, let's raise our children here and be here. And a little bit, I think it was my husband as well. It was like, we already have a place in Milan. Let's see. My friend Ellie has a saying that is beautiful. She says, there's nothing more permanent than something that is temporary. And so it happens all the time, right? You have a temporary thing, and then 2 years or 5 years pass, and you look back and you go like, oh, wait, that was supposed to be temporary. So we're here. We're here. The children go to school here. They first did kindergarten, and then now they're in elementary school. It was a tough period for me because I couldn't shake off the feeling of failure. And also, I couldn't quite recognize myself, because while I established my identity within myself, I see myself as an actress and as a writer. And because I worked as an actress, I always worked as an actress, and also in New York. And then there I started writing plays, and I wrote novels. I felt I was, what am I going to do now? I'm not used to being an actress in Italy. I feel I don't belong to any place anymore. I don't know the last updates in culture in Italy. I wasn't paying attention, and so I felt I wasn't quite Italian. But also I left New York, so I wasn't a New Yorker anymore, although they say that you once a New Yorker, you're always a New Yorker, and then that's true. I feel it in my heart. It's still the city that I chose, that I brought everything there, including the diaries of when I was a kid. But I don't have that feeling of failure anymore. But I did have it for a while.
Why?
Because then I started something completely new when I was here. I thought, we need money. I am not working as an actress. Then COVID arrived. I started making candles when I was in New York in my kitchen. I'll make it my new career. I had a hard time. I still have a hard time, but I think I got better. I'm getting better at considering a hobby just a hobby. I always think I'm doing this, and this is going to be my career. And so I rented a place across from where we lived, a lab where I could make candles and sell them. And that became my life for, 7 years, almost. 7 years, in which I was concentrating on raising the kids, really enjoying them. I wanted to see them grow. I wanted to be there for them. I wanted to teach them things. I wanted to experience how these two different human beings are, become old and grow and talk to me. And also, with COVID, everything kind of like disappeared. True, I could have done other things. But I said, no, this is it. I'm going to be a home scent maker, which I am right now. This is part of my lab. Although I'm in the middle of the next transformation, which it's not really a reset, is a coming back in every possible way. It's not because I came back to Italy that now I feel I have changed and I found myself again at all. But through these 7 years, I realized this is not what I want to do. I love this place. And what breaks my heart is that people really love it. But I don't want to do it anymore. I want to go back to what I really think I am and what really makes me happy, apart from my children, which is an enormous part of my life right now. It is being creative, but with my words, and I'm working on the third novel now. I am putting myself out there as an actress. I found myself, but not because I came back to my country, which again, I don't see it as familiar as one would think. It's because this life of being an entrepreneur taught me what I don't want to be, which is an entrepreneur. Because it was all the other side. It was not just making something with your hands, which is beautiful. I love it. And in fact, when I quit this, I want to go in a lab somewhere and learn a new skill of something to do with your hand, restore furniture or, upholster things, create fabric, no matter what. I want to be doing it because it's a great, almost meditative project that you have, and so different from working only with your head, writing and it's amazing when you can do something that you can touch and you don't have to be judged like you are as an actress on everything, your appearance, your soul almost, right? And your talent, obviously. But I realized really that that's not my path. I think I've also arrived at a point where if I can, I'd rather do something in which I identify with, which is interesting because I've always thought that there are two kinds of people. There are the people who do whatever job and it doesn't matter. It's just part of their lives, but it's not some part of their identity, which is great. I belong, though, to another category. I belong to the category of people who really identify with their job. So obviously now, because I need to also make money in between, I will do other things, most likely with a director friend of mine here in Milan. We're going to set up workshops. We're going to do things that, the famous square jobs, as I call them, the in-between jobs. I love to do the podcast. I think it's a great soul nourishing moment for me, to be able to talk to people who changed their lives. It makes me also reflect on myself. So, and I meet incredible people.
So now that you're shutting down your brand, how do you feel?
I thought it was going to be a failure to quit here, because I think quitting is considered a failure, right? When something didn't work, and it didn't. I mean, in my mind, this would have been not so much of a lab of a store, but the first, the starting point of an empire, an empire of candles. But I don't know. I didn't study economy in school. In college, I studied ancient history, and I specialized in art history. It's not who I am. So I made a lot of mistakes. But the reason why I don't consider it a failure is because I created something that is actually beautiful, that people come in and then go like, oh my God, this is great. And it fills my heart with joy. And now it terrifies me because it makes me very guilty, because I'm robbing this neighborhood of a nice place. It's going to be tough, especially because a lot of stores are closing, and in this neighborhood specifically, a lot of restaurants are opening, which makes it for a great, exciting neighborhood at night. But a customer once told me that stores are the lights of a city. Isn't it beautiful? I really love that.
Okay, I'm curious. It took more courage to move to New York or to Milan?
So, yeah, I think courage, definitely I needed courage, but I think that to stay in Italy instead of going to New York, for example, was going to take much more courage for me than to have stayed. It just I couldn't be in Italy anymore. I wanted to go away. I wanted to explore the world. I want to see something different, and I might have ended up somewhere else. It happened to have been New York, but it could have been something else. And now I think it required much more courage to come back here or move away from New York, I would say. Move away from New York. It was a tough few years. It was a tough few years. And the pandemic on top of that didn't help. But that's why I consider that much more of a change. I did it later in life with 2 kids, but I think that led to kind of losing myself. I couldn't recognize myself anymore, which is, I don't know if this happens to people who change dramatically their lives. In my case was moving away from a city that I loved, that I wanted to live all my life, and changing career as well. So it was a double trouble. I don't know if in the lives of people who change, and that would be interesting. I will ask this question in the future. In the life of people who changed, um, even if they wanted it very much, even if they wanted this change very much and they thought about it, they prepared. Um, I don't know if there was a moment there of almost an identity crisis. Like you couldn't recognize myself anymore. I couldn't. And now I feel so much happier because I know what I want. I tried something different and I know what I want. And this is something also, my path was already there. It took these 7 years to kind of like detour and then come back. Uh, the detour helped me understand that the path I was taking was not mine. If I think it as an image, my path was well established. It was beautiful. Let's say it was outdoors in a beautiful forest with like lights, sunlight coming through the leaves of the trees. It was beautiful. There were birds chirping. And the other one seemed more attractive. And it had patches of beauty, but they were signs saying, this is not, keep out or go back. And now this path has gently led me back to what I want to do right now, right now.
And why right now?
Because I think that life has phases. I always say that, and I really think so. How can you be the same person that you were at 20, at 30, at 40? It's impossible. You change, hopefully. You learn from things that happen to you, hopefully. And you learn to know yourself better. So I think that this phase of my life is this one. Will I learn in 10 years that it wasn't, that all this beautiful path with the bird singing and the beautiful sunlight coming through the trees and all that was actually just a nice temporary path, and then that would change and become something different or deviate and lead me somewhere else? Who knows? But right now I know what I want, which is great, especially coming out of 7 years of, I don't know, like fog.
What did you love at this job and what did you hate?
I loved talking to people. I loved making things with my hands and because we're dealing with scents, I love the fact that perfume and scent in general is such an interesting sensory thing to experience. It's like a mute presence around us. We don't tune to it that often, but because we experience smell with our amygdala, the one, right here in the center of our head, not with the brain, not with the cortex, which is the logical thinking, but with the flight or fight, unconscious part of our brain, the one that makes us react right away. It's the language of emotion, of memory. And so when you have to think about a smell, you bring it back to your memory. You have to describe it in a way that digs from the unconscious and makes sense to the logical brain. And that fascinates me. So many times you can liken a smell to a color. You can describe it in a way that it's almost like an object, or like a memory, or like literally a poem. And so all the scents that we have created with this nose, with this perfumer who is absolutely amazing, an excellent perfumer, Luca Maffei, they come from a memory of mine, or from one of my interpretations of what a ancient Roman Latin saying used to be. So it's a great. So on the one hand, I have things that I do with my hands. On the other, I have this universe that is so not tangible, so secret, and at the same time so elusive. So those are the great things of.
And the bad ones?
The bad. Okay, so the bad things are having to deal with taxes, invoices, deadlines. That I can't. Like, my mind freezes the moment I have to send an invoice. Even though they have to pay me, they will have to pay me. I will receive money. I will postpone it. So anxiety is really that for me. It just makes me stop, paralyzes me. The famous fight, flight, or freeze response. So to anxiety of this nature, I freeze. To other anxieties, I kind of tend to react. But speaking of fight, flight, or freeze, the flight, the leaving, the escaping, the fleeing has always been what I have done. So there's a part of me that says, oh my God, Marta, what are you going to do? What are you doing right now? You are leaving yet again something. But no, I haven't. Because if I think about my life so far as a story, true, I have graduated in ancient history, but also in acting at the same time. True, I have done other things in New York, hospital interpreter, for example, the translator, babysitter. I worked in a catering company for a while, a fabulous catering company in Manhattan. I did things to, square jobs to pay my rent and my expenses. But if I have to think about it, yes, this 7 years, this being here and making candles and having a brand has been a detour. So there's still a little voice in my head going, you're fleeing again? I always thought that fleeing is great, because fleeing is like, I always called it active fleeing. Like something, yeah, you're escaping, but you're escaping towards something, not away from something. So that's my excuse.
How do you feel now?
I'm very serene. I was very happy to have been talking to Montserrat for the podcast, for the first season of the podcast. I would love to have her again in English, because I think she explained things so eloquently. And she was amazing to talk to. She made me reconsider the whole concept of failure, and I feel so grateful to her. I don't see this as a failure. I see it as something incredibly beautiful that I built, and that will always be there.
What do you think you learned with your changes?
I say that New York has given me an incredible gift. Apart from my kids, all the friends that I still have, the experiences, I think it gave me the perspective of a New Yorker that I have here now. It has shielded me from this feeling, I moved back with my parents now that my boyfriend has left me, of a step back. Being a New Yorker, or anyway, having had that experience as a European, as an Italian, gave me the gift of freedom. That now sounds it sounds like a propaganda thing for New York, but land of the free. But in a way, yes. I think when you're in Italy, things might feel very stuffy, like I can't do that. I would never be able to achieve this. Americans in general, with their enormous frontiers in front of them and very little history, have this way of seeing things as, no, you can do it. There's an optimism that is so strong and interesting. It's so liberating. That's why I talk about freedom. I don't care so much what I'm wearing when I go in the street. There's an alarm. Can you hear it? And now there's an ambulance. There's a siren. It will stop. I'm sorry I keep doing this, but there's this headphone is like, I forgot what we were talking about. Yes, the moto. Oh my God, now they're having some constructions in the backyard here. Very quickly, the moto, otherwise I record it. Okay, my favorite moto, I have a lot of great quotes that I like to go back to. There's one I have here. Oh yeah. Okay, it's by Rumi. She overcame everything that was meant to destroy her. Isn't that beautiful? I love this quote. But because I talked about my brand, I need to say Festina Lente. Festina Lente is a Latin ancient Roman saying that means make haste slowly, run slowly. And this, in a way, is what I am trying to do right now. Now I try to still have that drive, because you're still making haste, but taking your time. So it, for me, means fly with your imagination, have ambitions, but take your time. Not only be cautious, because I think be cautious was the real meaning in ancient Rome. Do things, but be cautious. I think right now it's more, for me at least, it's more, yes, do all things, be ambitious, put yourself out there, but do it with a little bit less chaos and more, real drive. Take your time a little bit, stop a little bit, and enjoy your life. And this is what I really want to do right now. I really want to enjoy my life. I don't know if what I'm doing will be substituted by AI soon. Oh my God, another ambulance. Should we stop? Thank you, Roberta. I'll talk to you in 2 hours.
Reset Stories is a podcast created by Dea Ex Machina, produced by Cristina Rambaldi.
hosted by Marta
Bye,
Mondelli.
everybody.
Intro music by Fabio Antonelli. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to put faces to our voices, follow us on Instagram and watch the interviews backstage on our YouTube channel, Reset Stories Podcast.